So I just want to kick off with saying today we're going to be covering some really cool stuff. I thought this would be a useful subject matter for you guys, which is how to be able to sell your home fast. How to be able to sell your home fast or be able to sell your house quickly so that you can continue to get moving on. Now, this is whether you are selling the house for yourself or whether you're selling this as an investment property. We're going to be covering exactly how to be able to do that. And we're also going to be going through the 3 common mistakes that people make when it comes to selling a house that increases the amount of time that it takes for them to be able to sell it. Now, just to sort of check in as to where you guys are at. Just want to check that you guys can all hear me and see me and feel me and all that good stuff. If you can, please do me a favor, just drop me a quick message in the chat. We've obviously got you guys on YouTube and on Facebook. So for those of you guys catching me on YouTube and on Facebook, if you can hear me, just give me a hi or a yes or a thumbs up, and just make sure that I can sort of check in with you guys. Okay, super cool. So like I say, for those of you that are just joining us, we're going to be kicking off this session. Should be a really exciting session. The session's all about how to sell your house for fast. Okay, how to sell your house fast, how to be able to get it sold nice and quick and be able to avoid the common mistakes that property investors and all homeowners tend to make when it comes to selling your property. Now, this is going to be a nice short session and it should be really cool, it should be really fun. I hope you guys enjoy it. We're going to first of all kick off with the 3 common mistakes that are made when it comes to selling property. Okay, the 3 common mistakes that are made when it comes to selling property. So, hey John, awesome to see you in, by the way. Super cool, man. So the very first mistake, okay, and this is a very interesting one, is something that we call property dressing. Okay, property dressing. So very simply, you guys have all done this, you've all seen this when you're scrolling through Rightmove or you're scrolling through Zoopla and you're busy looking at properties and you're trying to find a property to be able to buy and you see all of these houses that have no furniture in. Okay, it's my favorite because you see it has no furniture, so you have no actual ability to be able to judge how large that property is, how much space a sofa would take, whether it's big or small. And, although, yes, you're going to have some measurements, the measurements aren't that easy to always pick up. Hey, Kevin, thanks for joining in, man. Super cool to see you. So you aren't always going to be able to make a very easy judgment. So the easiest way for people to be able to know whether the property is going to be an adequate size is to put furniture in the property. Now, please understand, and this is a very important thing to understand. When it comes to selling a property, 80% of the sale, as an estimate, hey Imogen, awesome, cool to see you, 80% of the sale is actually done before the person turns up at the house. Okay, now think about that. What I mean by that, okay, and please feel free to jump in on what you think I mean by that, but what I mean by that is if a property is listed online and someone scrolls through it and they select it to view, okay, all they need is that last little 20% to push them over the edge as to why they're buying it. Okay, 80% of the work is done. You've got them interested. You've done the marketing bit. You've got them curious about going around the house and seeing it. Then all that's left is when they turn up, it just needs to tick the boxes that they believe. Okay, so with that in mind, please understand, obviously the first one is dressing. And this is dressing in a non-technical term, basically means you're putting furniture around the house. Okay, now you're not going to put crap old furniture around the house. You can basically buy dressing kits or rent dressing kits or get property dressers, depending on where you're selling a property and how much it's worth. Upwards of a couple of $100,000, then really it's worth getting a professional dresser. Smaller, you can actually get smaller dressing kits, or you leave your own furniture in the house and just make sure it looks really neat and tidy. Now, the important things to think about when it comes to dressing is beds. Okay, you want beds in the rooms, cupboards, bedside cupboards, lampshades. Always make sure you have lampshades. Scatter cushions, gentlemen, this is particularly for us. We don't tend to like scatter cushions. Okay, but just cushions, a nice little cushion that looks nice on the bed. Okay, and drapes, something to hang instead of curtains, or hang curtains if you have curtains. You want them to be nicer looking curtains, please understand. If you don't have curtains, get some fabric. Okay, double up on the fabric and hang it up with a couple of pins. And then just drape it around and put a bit of fabric just to hold it in place and pin it into place there. Just use a couple of thumbtacks if you need to, just so it looks like you have nice curtains for the photo. Okay, that makes a world of difference when it comes to selling a property. It's just something that looks really nice. Now in the front room, you're going to want things like sofas, okay, a TV, just some basic stuff. If you've got a dining room, a chair, tables, put out some nice crockery on the table, put a bunch of flowers. People love flowers. Okay, and I know it's bizarre, but a bunch of flowers makes a real nice impact. And you just have like place sets So you have like your big plate with the bowl in it and maybe a placemat underneath it and a colored napkin just to give it some color. Okay, this sort of stuff really makes a big difference when it comes to selling. Same within your kitchen. You want a toaster and your microwave and all that sort of stuff in there. A nice colored tea towel. Okay, hang it over the oven or something and just make it look really nice. Okay, so that is the first thing. The biggest common mistake that most people make when it comes to selling properties fast is they do not dress it. Okay, they do not dress properties. And if you do not dress properties, you are reducing the likelihood of finding a buyer quickly. Okay, so that's the first one. The second one, and this is another important thing to consider. The second one is people get cheap photos. Okay, they get cheap photos. Now, this is for one of two reasons. Either they've gone and taken some snaps themselves around the house, or they've got an estate agent that doesn't have a good camera. Okay, now an estate agent who doesn't have a good camera and somebody who knows how to edit pictures, their pictures will not be very attractive and very appealing. Now, bearing in mind what I'm saying, 80% of your sale is made before the person turns up at the house. So if you have an estate agent that rocks up that either doesn't take good photos or doesn't edit the photos well, or doesn't have a wide angle lens, okay, it has to be a wide angle lens so that you can capture more of the room and it gives it a nicer appearance of space. So the easiest way to know whether the estate agent you're picking is able to do good pictures or good photos, okay, is if you go online and look at their other adverts. You will know, just take a look around, you will know the estate agents that take the best photos because you go and look through the photos of the properties that they have listed. Okay, and out of those photos, you're going to go, oh, this is really nice. This, they seem to really capture the space or makes the house look nice. And anything like that where you think, oh, this is really appealing photos. You know the estate agent is actually doing a decent job of taking professional photos and getting them well edited. Okay, that is a major part. If you do not do that, it has a huge impact on your ability to be able to sell the house quickly. I promise you, it is massive. Okay, remember, 80% of the sale is done before they get in the door. Okay, and the third biggest mistake that people tend to make is the estate agent they choose. Now, this is a really big one. Okay, this is a really big one. Out of interest, for those of you guys on the chat, who's chosen an estate agent when you came to selling a property just because you know somebody who knows somebody, or just because you've seen them online, or because you saw their marketing board, or because they sounded good? Who's done this before? If that's you, just give me a yes in the chat. Whether that's you on YouTube or whether that's you on Facebook, if that's you, just give me a quick yes in the chat. Let me just sort of check in with you guys, because I've definitely done this before, by the way, and all that ends up happening is nothing. Nothing ends up happening. Things just seem to drag on and on and on and on, and you don't manage to get the property sold quickly. Okay, now this comes down to a few different things. A not so good estate agent might not be very good with marketing, or they use something called copy, okay, so copywriting. So the way in which they put in the description about the property, this is called copy. They put it into a sales form of writing. If the estate agent does not have good copy, and the easiest way to know, go read through some of their adverts, and if the adverts sound really appealing, you go, oh yeah, that sounds really professional or really nice, or it really grabs my attention, then you know they have good copy. If they do not, okay, then you know it's not great. Now, some of the other challenges you're going to face with estate agents is either they don't pick up the phone. My suggestion is just randomly call them at different times of the day. Hey Harsha, awesome to have you in, my love. Just randomly call them at different times of the day. Okay, and you'll notice by randomly calling them at different times of the day when they answer, when they don't answer. Now, I understand this is kind of a little bit funny, just randomly calling estate agents, but it's a great way for you to know, because if you have prospective buyers that are trying to call to book viewings, if they cannot get through, to the estate agent, then you are much more likely to lose the sale. Okay, they're not just going to keep calling the estate agent to book in viewings. So it's something very important to note. So the fact that they don't answer the phone. Second thing is the portals that they market on, the portals they sell properties on. Okay, so they might only sell the property on Zoopla instead of Rightmove and Zoopla. Okay, now Rightmove currently has the larger market share when it comes to all the properties being listed for sale on the market. I don't have the exact figures, but off the top of my head, I believe it was somewhere around 90%, and Zoopla's only at about 70% share. Okay, that means there's quite a significant difference, and Rightmove does list significantly more properties. So, with that being said, if the estate agent you're going with is being cheap or being tight, means that you are not listing to the mass audience. the vast majority of people looking to buy properties go to Rightmove and not Zoopla. Okay, many do go to Zoopla, but Rightmove is typically the platform of choice. Now, a good estate agent will list on both. Okay, they will list on both. Okay, and I believe there's a couple more as well that they might list on too, which is always very, very useful as well. The more eyes you get on the ad, the better. Now, the other thing is estate agents have is they also have something called a boosting. Okay, so they can boost your ad and put it up higher. Okay, you're boosting, so you can boost your ad and have it a little bit higher up in the ratings. Now, some of the estate agents, they do not boost your ad. My suggestion is you want an estate agent that when they first post your ad up, they boost it. The other thing, okay, so there's a whole heap of things, a whole heap of challenges I have with estate agents that all reduce the speed in which you're selling. Okay, but it all forms under number 3, which is crappy estate agents. Okay, the third thing is it's called buying business. Okay, estate agents are amazing at buying business. What they love to do is they love to basically promise you they're going to achieve a price that they know is unrealistic. So let's just say, as an example, your house would realistically sell for £100,000. And you get in 3 different estate agents and they all come and value the property and say what they're going to sell it for. And one says, oh, we're going to put it on the market for 110, aim to sell for around 105, maybe 100. Okay, another one says, oh yeah, we're going to put it on the market for 110 and maybe expect to sell it for 110, minimum 105, we won't take less. And then you have a third one that says, we're going to put it on the market for 120, we're definitely going to sell it for around 110. Okay, most people would naturally go for the third estate agent because you sit there and go, well, I make an extra £10,000. Please understand this is a false economy. It is bullshit. It is lies. Estate agents aren't always the most truthful. Now, I don't have anything against estate agents per se, but please understand they have a vested interest in being dishonest to you to achieve your business. So what a lot of estate agents do is they will overpromise something, and then over the period of the 3 months or so that they tie you in for, they'll be coming back to you saying, oh, we haven't had enough viewings. The best thing we can do is just chip the price down a little bit. It's tried at 115,000, aim for 110 sale. And then, 2-3 weeks later, oh, we haven't had enough. Let's drop it from 115 to 110. Let's see what we can get agreed. And in the end, they're probably going to sell it for around the same price as the first two would have done, but they are going to lose potential buyers. Please know when a potential buyer sees a house and they disregard that house, i.e. it doesn't go into their shortlist, often even if prices are reduced, it doesn't go back into their shortlist and you lose potential buyers. It is not a good thing. As a matter of fact, it is terrible because every potential buyer is somebody else who would be willing to take your house as a possibility, which could reduce your sale time. Okay, so these are 3 of the things that people do wrong, or 3 of the biggest mistakes that people make. Now let me tell you about some other little tips and tricks that you can do to sell a house quickly. So have you ever thought when it comes to selling your house, now this is if your own home or somebody else's home, it is irrelevant. Okay, it might be a rental property. Have you ever thought about putting out flyers? And flyers are not cheap to make. You just stick them in your printer and just do it one street either way, including the street that the house is on. And it's just a flyer that all it does, that has a picture of the house, has the asking price, it says, hey, I'm looking to sell my house privately. If anybody is interested, please get in touch. This is my phone number. Now, what you tend to find is you have a lot of community. Within the UK, you have a lot of community. The way in which a lot of people operate is they operate as a community. Okay, so what tends to happen is uncles and aunts and stuff will give their cousins or nephews or brothers or mothers or daughters or someone else, hey, look, one of the neighbors is selling their property. I know you're looking for a house. Have you thought about popping around here? Okay, especially the older generation, like the old biddies, they always have somebody they know who's moving. Always have somebody they know that's moving. Oh yeah, my grandson's, nephew or whatever, he's busy moving, or his wife or whatever. It's, they always know somebody who's moving. Now, if they get a flyer through the door, even if you say, if you help me find a buyer, I'll happily give you £1,000, or whatever you want to do as a little incentive on there, as your way of saying thanks, instead of selling via an estate agent, this will increase the likelihood of you selling. Okay, now it might sound like a lot of work to do 3 streets. Now, unless you're living in one of those massive streets that has 500 houses, you're probably living in a street that has 40, 50 houses. You do 3 of those, 150 flyers, 150 pieces of paper, maybe take you half an hour to an hour. It's not really a lot of time. Okay, but that has the potential to sell for more and also escape the estate agent's fees. Now, some of you guys know estate agent's fees can be quite hefty, sort of 1.5%, 2%. Some of them can be a little bit cheeky. Okay, so that will also help. Another thing that you can also do is you can also put up your own personal for sale sign. Okay, you can put up your own personal for sale sign, either in your window or much better, just get a board. I mean, you can buy one of those corrugated plastic boards, stick a wooden post on it, 2x2 or 1x1 wooden post, probably a 1x1, and you just screw it in there and you just write on there, private sale, phone number, and people will start to get in touch with you, primarily people in the local area. It makes it much, 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 much easier for you to be able to get things done. Okay, so Kevin here has some feedback. Property I sold was valued by 3 different agents between $75,000 and $100,000. Is eventually sold for $72,500, which proves my point exactly. Thank you very much, Kevin, by the way. That's a really, really good one. Okay, and it proves the point exactly. Now, something else, if you're doing a development property, and I know we covered a lot of this on one of our previous lives, okay, but if you're doing a development property, is there anything stopping you from, once you have started to rip out of the house, to actually start flying around the local streets and saying, hey, you get to pick your own kitchen and bathroom if you organize the purchase on this property quick enough? Now, a lot of buyers, if they want to buy a house that's being freshly renovated, if they then put the money down for a new kitchen or a new bathroom that is slightly different to what you were going to do in the first place, so they might upgrade it and pay a little bit extra, they're on the hook to buy it. More often than not, you can get people to buy the house before you actually even come to sell it, okay, because you're getting the refurbishment done. So a really cool little trick there that can really help you out. A couple other things that are really useful: make sure your house is tidy and clean and neutral. Neutral, please. You have no idea how many houses I've walked around where they've got this bright red wall, or they've got like this hideous wallpaper. And you just sitting there going like, my good God, man, just chuck a paintbrush around, just a white paint, whitewash the whole house. Okay, it'll make it look really nice in comparison. Okay, either whitewash, or you can do magnolia. I hate magnolia. I think it genuinely think it's a hideous color. Okay, but you can just whitewash the walls. If you just paint all the walls white, it will definitely have a much nicer feel to it. Okay, everything will just feel much cleaner, much tidier. Make sure it's tidy, like the amount of people who leave all this stuff all around the house. Now, I understand if you're living in the house, I get it. Okay, but if the house is tidy, it's much easier to want to buy. Beds are made, etc. Windows are open. You'd be amazed how many houses I've walked around. Now, I've viewed literally thousands and thousands of houses over the years. We've bought and sold and been engaged in transactions of over 500 properties. So like I know this gig, right? One of the things that always makes me think is when I walk in a house and it smells of sweat, it smells of cigarettes, smells of dog, or whatever it smells of. In my head, all I'm going is, what other issues are there? I'm not going to be paying full asking price. Okay, immediately in my mind, I've already started to chip away for professional cleaning, chip away for removing carpets because they probably stink. There's a whole bunch of stuff I start to think, which all reduce the price. Please understand, and this is very, very important, and you probably want to write this down. If ever you want to sell a property, okay, it is very, very important. Okay, people are always, when they're walking around the house, they are looking for a reason not to buy the house. In their head, they've already decided they want to buy it. That's why they've turned up. Let me be clear, that they've already turned up at the house going, okay, yes, I'm interested, I'm ready to buy this. And then they're walking around the house looking for reasons not to buy. Don't give them a reason not to buy. Just don't give them a reason not to buy. So if you freshly refurbished a house, don't sit there and have chips out of walls and all sorts of stuff, you're snagging that isn't done, or carpet that's not laying right, or something that then starts to create doubts in their head where they're going, well, if that's not right, what else is not right around the house? Because when they find one issue, they start to look for more, and inevitably they find a whole heap more. Okay, so try and prevent them from finding issues by just make sure it's nice, tidy, clean, taken care of. Okay, and give it a nice lick of paint. And with paint, the reason I say white is because you don't have to cut in. You're just literally just chucking it across everything. Okay, you whitewash the whole thing, it makes a huge difference. If you really want to be a little bit coy, you can do one feature wall, a little bit of masking tape, chuck the paint on the walls. Okay, do a good 2-3 coats, make it look good. Won't take you long. to paint a house really won't take you long. Banisters and stuff, sure, I get, but like the house, it's worth it because you're going to be asking for another 5, 10, 15,000 pounds, or you just pay somebody to do that. Okay. Now Kevin's put in a really good little tip there, top tip, which is you can always buy scents that smell like coffee or freshly baked bread or cinnamon or something that when people walk in the house, they have I want to say euphoric smell, but it's not quite the word I'm looking for. A smell that takes them back to a time within their life when they were younger, or a time when they were happier, or something like that, that makes them feel better. Okay, now when you go into coffee shops, when you go into bakeries, and there's loads of shops that you go into where they have scents, where you walk in and you just feel a little bit more at home, a little bit more comfortable. So this is a huge tip, so really, really cool. Thanks, Kevin, for that. Okay, so that's basically the 3 common mistakes that most people make. Nostalgia. Beautiful. Thank you, Adam. Thank you. I appreciate that. So it's nostalgia. So yeah, so that's the 3 biggest mistakes that property investors make and anybody makes when it comes to selling properties. Is they either don't dress the property or don't effectively dress the property. Pictures, make sure you remember pictures. Just stick a little tack in the wall. You can fill the hole with toothpaste if you need to. It hides everything beautifully. I didn't tell you that. So property dressing is the first one. People always get cheap photos or an estate agent that does cheap photos. It is not worth it, okay? Remember 80% of the sale is done before they walk in the house. And then the third one is they use a terrible estate agent that either isn't marketing well, hasn't got the right copy, hasn't got the right imagery, doesn't do walkthroughs or floor plans, doesn't list on all the relevant portals, or doesn't answer the phone, or their viewer. Okay, and this is a big one. Okay, their viewer is somebody who's miserable and grumpy or old and which you do get, and viewers can very much put people off the sale. Okay, so really, really important top tips there. But yeah, have you guys got any questions? That sort of covered everything I wanted to cover with you guys. Okay, iPhone 11 Pro Max has an amazing camera for doing this. Of that, I have no doubt. So we actually have a wide-angle lens. I've got it on in front of me. Unfortunately, I can't see. It's a 1260. In terms of a wide-angle lens, a 1260 is perfect for being able to take photos around a property. It's got a nice wide angle, but it's not so wide that it looks like a fisheye lens. Okay, it just gives you a nicer, wider perspective of everything around the room. So yeah, really, really useful. Get yourself a decent camera. You can buy a decent DSLR camera for like 150 quid, like 100 quid for a good lens. It's 250. In the grand scheme of things, you can get some really nice photos of that and get them edited well. Edit out all the bad stuff. Have you used room scan? So no, Adam, I haven't used room scan. That sounds very interesting. I presume that is a floor plan generator, is it? I'm curious to hear. I also got suggested another one where you have a little thing that you walk around wall by wall and it actually measures out the entire room if you go corner by corner. But yeah, room scan sounds really interesting. It sounds like an app I've had where you point it at the corners of the room and you turn in a circle from the middle of the room. But yeah, maybe the same thing. It'd be very interesting. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, please make sure you drop them in the chat. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. This is your time, guys. You get an opportunity to ask any question of me that you want whatsoever. Okay, perfect. That is it. Excellent. Then yes, I have used room scan. Yes, it was very cool. If I remember correctly, it was very cool. I stopped using it because estate agents tend to do floor plans, but not all. But yeah, so it looks like you guys have no questions today, which is awesome. In which case, it has been an absolute pleasure, guys. I hope you've had loads of value. For those of you tuning in at home, if you are currently selling a house, or if you're looking to sell a house in the future, these top tips will make a huge difference to the cost of you selling the property and also the speed at which you're selling the property. Okay, so quick comment there by Adam. It's an amazing bit of kit that does floor plans. It either uses the Lyra camera on the iPhone or works with the Bluetooth laser measure. Oh, I didn't know it does a Bluetooth laser measure. Very clever, advanced since last time I used it. So very cool. But yeah, so hopefully that helps, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Obviously, it's only Tuesday evening. Hope you enjoy the rest of the week. If you're catching this as a recording, please hit the like, please hit the subscribe if you can. Subscribe to the channel, guys. Let's help keep this channel growing. We're doing loads and loads of top tips all around investing in property, buying property, selling property, how to get the most bang for your buck, how to be able to build a portfolio and buy houses for as little as £15,000. and creating passive income and cash flow so you never have to work another day in your life. So if that's you, please do give us a like, please do give us a subscribe down below, and I look forward to seeing you on some of the other videos. Goodbye.